Hot pot is when we cook these thinly sliced raw vegetables and meat inside of a flavorful broth. There are many types of hot pot from different regions of the world. They mostly differ in broth base and dipping sauce. These copper pots over here are called lamp boils from the general Mongolian region. They were brought to Beijing by the Mongolian Empire. The broth is clear and aromatic, and people dip the cooked meat in sesame sauce. It looks a little questionable, but it tastes pretty good. Plus, people say that this fire in the pot gives a ton of that wok hei. Then we have the Japanese hot pots. Is this AI? I can't tell. Shabu shabu is a light miso-based broth with soy or yuzu as dipping sauce. It's named that because when people swing around their meat in the pot, it sounds like shabu shabu shabu. You know what I mean? Then sukiyaki is probably my favorite. It usually starts dry and then simmered in a sweet soy broth, dipped in a raw egg, just how Bayashi likes it. But today we're talking about the most well-known type in the world, the nice square hot pot from Szechuan. It's got its name because of the dividers. Each square is for cooking a particular type of ingredient. This one is loaded with spice and flavors, and the chili oil floating on top is actually made of beef tallow. You're basically just doing a confit for your vegetables and meat in spicy beef fat. My dad said fat is flavor, so this is the most flavorful way to prepare anything, I guess. Here's more. After cooking your meat, you dip it in minced garlic covered in sesame oil. So it's time to announce today's rule is when you start to question me and ask, is that too much fat?
Never!
My destiny. I will never say never.
It is, after all, a soup base, and we can't dry age steak with liquid. So we're just gonna prepare the spicy tallow and use that to cover up our ribeye. Starting with the most important component, the chili powder. I was just gonna use paprika and gochugaru because I have a lot, but I went to Chinatown and bought some proper chili powder from Szechuan. Why is it so red? Making me a little uncomfortable. To a pound of chili powder, we're first gonna pour in about a half cup of boiling water. We're gonna fry our ingredients in tallow for a fairly long time, and the last thing we want is anything burning. In my opinion, burnt chili is probably one of the worst bitterness of all time. Don't ask me why I'm so familiar with it. We got a bunch of spices that we want to soak to prevent burning as well. Some cinnamon, black cardamom, regular cardamom, star anise, and I still don't know what this is, and some cloves. It's like steeping tea over here. You have to do it for at least an hour. I've seen some people do it overnight. We're also gonna do the same thing to some coriander seeds and fennel seeds. I mean cumin seeds. I also got 2 types of Szechuan peppercorn for the maximum complexity of flavors. This is the green one, which is sharper and less numbing, and the red one is earthier and more numbing. And we don't want to steep them, so we'll just soak them in cold water for 15 minutes. Oh, by the way, I also soaked some bay leaves in cold water, but nobody cares about them anyways. I forget about them 90% of the time. Alright, we'll leave all these to soak and start cutting the vegetables. Very simple setup of aromatics and root vegetables. I feel like that's the basic for a lot of Chinese cooking. I'm about to display some high-level cutting, so pay attention. For the cilantro, we'll chop up the roots, bang it on the kitchen counter, and it's done. Same thing for the scallion, but also chop in half. We really should be using Tokyo leeks, but I only have the normal one, so we'll shave off the top and cut it into segments. We're gonna need a lot of ginger for this one, not only because I like ginger, but ginger after frying gives it that underlying rich flavor. No need to peel, we'll just cut it into thick slices. This is all of our aromatics. Combined with the spices, I didn't know so many ingredients goes into hot pot base. If you don't like flavor, you can replace them with a bowl of water into hot oil. It is time to start getting the fat ready. We have over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 jars of premium epic rendered beef tallow. This video is not sponsored by beef tallow. You'll meet the sponsor of this video very soon. Let's start loading them in. In case we forgot today's rule and you start asking yourself, is that too much fat?
Never!
My destiny. I will never say never.
So we'll turn the heat on high and get it up to 300 degrees. I'm aware that you caught the reflection of my ugly ass face in the time lapse, but let's focus on the important thing here. First thing we're dropping in are these ginger pieces, followed by the leek segments. These sturdier vegetables, we'll let them fry about 3 minutes before following up with the scallion. It's gonna start splattering, so be careful or get one of my aprons. We'll stir it around, let it draw out its moisture. It's time to drain the spices out of the soaking water and throw it in as well. They're not going to burn as easily as they would before soaking. As the moisture evaporates from them, the flavor gets released into the tallow. Now we need to let it infuse for 30 minutes while keeping a constant temperature at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, as you guys all know, I'm a master of thermodynamics, but even then, sometimes I need help with temperature control. Let's talk about today's sponsor, Typher. They're introducing a game changer for all of us, the Typher Sync Quad wireless thermometer. First up, the Sync Quad comes with 4 6-sensor probes. That's 24 sensors packed into this powerful tool. They provide super accurate ambient and internal temperature tracking, ensuring your meat is cooked to perfection every single time. And check this out, the probes are incredibly thin, only 0.19 inches. That's even thinner than their previous model, making it easier to insert into your meat without any hassle. The only appropriate time to ask the question no man wanna hear: is it in yet? Not only can you view your cooking data directly on the base without needing your phone, you can also connect to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. This means you can monitor your cook with unlimited range, a lot better than most other thermometers that can only support Bluetooth. You can monitor your roast chicken in the oven with temperature from both thigh and breast, a steak in the sous vide, and another one on the grill. Life is chaotic, some of us need all the control we can get. With Typher's ultra-stable connections, you'll never worry about losing signals halfway through the process. If you're serious about your cooking, the Typher Sync Quad is a must-have. Grab yours today using the link in the description box below and use my code FutureCanoe for an extra 10% off. This will be at its lowest price ever on Amazon Prime Day, so don't wait too long. Okay, as my sister's gossipers will say, back to talking about the cow fat. After 30 minutes, when everything's looking dry and brown like kami instead of piccolo, we'll scoop the vegetables out and save them for a later use. I hope my lack of fingers aren't preventing the communication of air quotes. I'm gonna try to be as thorough as possible because I'm saving a little bit of this to make hot pot later, and when these spices get cooked for too long, they release this medicinal taste. We'll bring it up to 325 and the transformation is about to happen. A whole pound of Szechuan chili powder soaked with a little bit of water into the oil. I'm gonna do it little by little so I don't go back to the ER. I saw that it was getting really agitated, so I give it a little break. It's just the moisture acting up. The more we fry it, the less intense the bubble's gonna be. Now the oil's gotten a lot colder, so we'll turn up the heat and add in the soaked Szechuan peppercorn. Unfortunately, we're not fishing them out later. They're essential to the flavors of many dishes, but also the reason why I don't like eating spicy Chinese food. Because whenever I'm just trying to enjoy a nice plate of mapo tofu, one of these pops into my mouth and start releasing all its numbingness. It just takes away from the experience. It's like watching your favorite YouTuber and getting a Raid Shadow Legend ad, or getting punched in the face in your favorite position right before you're about to come to an understanding of yourself and the world around you. By the way, I added minced ginger, sweet bean paste, and spicy bean paste. Try to resist the urge of putting garlic into it because after oxidizing it tastes pretty bad and it spoils the oil too. After they've been frying for about 15 minutes, here comes our last ingredient. The powder was for the depth of flavor, and these after frying will release the aroma that's gonna make the neighbor's kid cry out of jealousy. We'll keep them frying at 325, and once the chilies take on a deep red color, it's done. While we wait for it to cool, let's divide up this whole piece of ribeye. I was gonna get individual pieces of prime grade, but Costco sold out this weekend, so we're gonna have to settle with this whole piece of choice. I mean, the marbling is pretty good for its price. I think America generally has great beef. I mean, it's no Miyazaki, but you're not gonna see a piece of that on this channel anytime soon. I never worked as a butcher. I'm just going with my intuition of getting rid of the fat, and then we'll just cut out a couple pieces of steak to feed my roommate and save these two larger pieces for the dry aging. At this point, our tallow should be almost at room temperature. This pile of red goo basically has every ingredient and every flavoring agent of Szechuan cuisine. I guess I'm just gonna name it the original
Szechuan sauce, and it's delicious.
If you want to take a break and have some hot pot now, just put some premium chicken stock into a pot, followed by a scoop of the tallow, and top it off with more premium stock. Move it around the broth. As soon as it changes color, you can dip in the sauce and eat it. Ever since I saw the video of Guga dry aging beef in MSG, I've been very curious to what it tastes like. We'll turn it into snow-like consistency after adding a little bit of water and cover an entire piece of meat in it. We're gonna need a bigger tray. There's so much satisfaction in covering up meat in MSG. It takes me home because it resembles how people patch up a broken marriage. In case you haven't assumed, I don't have a dry aging fridge, so it's going into my normal fridge. Here comes the step that you clicked on this video for. With a parchment paper on the bottom, we'll lay down a layer of almost room temperature tallow. And with the fat side up, I did it wrong earlier, we'll lay down our piece of ribeye. With the continuation of doing weird things to my meat, the spicy oil is gonna cover the entire surface area of the steak. I'm gonna try to be as thorough as I can, because we don't want to be missing any areas or leave any gaps to attract spoilage. Look, I bought this little fan for the ventilation and moisture control inside the fridge. So my plan is, during the day, when the meat is inside and I have to open the fridge a lot, I'm gonna put this fan here just to prevent bacteria buildup. And at night when I'm charging the fan, I'm just gonna bet on this baking soda to absorb the excess moisture. We'll leave them there to sit and develop flavor in my low budget dry aging station for 30 days. The waiting period always gets skipped in these types of videos. It would be funny if somebody did a dry age video with a 30-day daily vlog included in the middle, showing people what they did each day leading up to the result. This is the piece of MSG steak. It's like a third of the size before, and it smells actually pretty good. You've witnessed me tasting a fair amount of rancid looking meat on this channel, so this is nothing. It doesn't feel or smell spoiled or anything, it's just extremely dry. Kinda like really poorly made beef jerky. Has a hint of purple. It's a sign of dehydration. I mean, I guess monosodium glutamate is just a type of sodium glutamate. Looks pretty similar to the pellicles of really expensive dry aged steak. The whole point of dry aging is just to dehydrate to concentrate the beef flavor. The MSG might have enhanced the process, or it's just gonna taste like corned beef. Back to the main character. I put these marshmallows here because I heard they draw out moisture as well. This one looks like it lost a lot less water than the other one. Look, I put them in a heart shape. This is how I feel about all of you when you tell your friends to subscribe. So let's break it open and see what's going on under there. It's gonna be beautiful. A lot of things to evaluate here. This side looks like a zombie, the top has mold, and the inside looks actually pretty good. I'm just gonna trim it off for now. It's negligible. It's like a shot of penicillin. If you remember, when I had 60 subscribers, I ate mold, and you guys loved it. Just because now that there are 2 million of us, doesn't mean I can stop eating mold. Plus, this side looks nice and smells good. Let's check out this side. I bet it's way better. Oof. Okay, it's still pretty,
What the fuck?
Everything they have is so futuristic. I don't want to think about mold for now, so let's move on to some happy thoughts. Like this new sous vide machine Typher gifted me. I've never used or owned a sous vide machine before, so I'm pretty excited to find out if they work as well as people make out to be. It even comes with a portable vacuum sealer. This is pretty fun. After we wrap our meat tightly in plastic, it's time to insert it into a wet box. The machine calculates the cooking time based on the information you input into the screen, but I'm gonna just monitor the internal temperature as well, just in case. While we let the meat chill in the sous vide, let's slide into some DMs. Our friend at Alpine Butcher does experiments like this all the time, so let me slide it in. I asked a question and sent some pictures of my meat, like my usual DM. They're not responding now, so let's continue cooking. cooking. It looks like the small steak on the third probe is already done, and as soon as the bigger ones hit 105, I'm gonna take it all out. Cutler is so weird, and it's really soft. And as Google would say, then I took it outside and put it on the grill. I didn't season them because I feel like there's already enough salt in whatever aged them. The steak is fully cooked throughout, so we're just gonna get a nice sear on the outside. Alright, let's get the taste test started. The MSG one first. I feel like this one I can actually eat it. I'm confident to a certain degree that this is just the enhanced corned beef. Food spoilage needs water, and the MSG pretty much drew everything out. The sous vide is so powerful. It's like medium rare throughout. It feels extremely tender. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. It's not as salty as I expected it to be. The beef flavor is definitely more concentrated. So my two hypotheses were wrong. It doesn't taste like corned beef and it doesn't taste like dry aged. It's just a really well seasoned, extra tender steak. Kind of reminds me of pastrami a little bit. Tastes good, but definitely not worth it to wait 30 days. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Moving on to the hot pot one. Usually we bring the beef to the pot. This time we brought the pot to the beef. Well, first off the bat, this one looks significantly juicier than the MSG one. I guess more moisture was retained. And I mean, hence the mold. Friends at the butcher shop still haven't responded. So for the name of science and in keeping with the brand image of this channel, I'm going to eat this moldy steak. Is it me or is this looking extremely good? I think sous vide might have just opened a door to the new world to me. Let's give it a taste. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this is one of the best steaks I've ever had. Maybe it's because how thick it is or the cooking method, but the flavor of this thing is off the roof too. Every time you chew it, the fragrance of hot pot spices lingers in your mouth, and it's not spicy at all. It's so aromatic and subtle. It's an experience I never thought I'd have. Let's take a piece of the ribeye cap and dip it in the soy sauce and see if it completes the hot pot experience. You know guys, if I didn't just see so much mold on this thing, I'll be freaking out right now, in like a good way. This is insanely good. Everything's so subtle and balanced. Let me give you $1 million idea. You open a hot pot restaurant, but also a steakhouse, and you offer these hot pot tallow dry aged steaks. And don't tell the customers about the mold though. This is my last piece. This is my last piece, guys. If it turns out to be inedible, I don't want to spend too long at the ER. All the doctors there made fun of me last time when I went in for a donut burn. Since it's not confirmed that this is inedible, I'm gonna assume that it is, and I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. Is excellent. I also cooked up this piece. It's just a normal piece of fresh steak marinated in the Costco sauce. This is my actual dinner because I don't feel good eating any of the zombie steaks that I created earlier. I'll just feed it to my roommate. Overall, I had a lot of fun doing my first dry aging experiment. You guys love to see me struggle, and I feel like I've been getting pretty good at doing recipes lately, so let's start doing experiments once in a while. I just fully recovered from being sick for so long, and I'll update you on the mold eating health condition. Wish me luck. Alright, thank you.